Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate that. Yes, we're rocking and rolling again. I'm getting all kinds of buzz here, so I'll just take these things off for a second, and you'll get that fixed up. Hey, it's time for the bushy-bearded, long-haired hippie, Jesse T. and the Jesse T. Show. Yes, we are broadcasting live here from Los Angeles, the land of good and plenty, but too many people and too much traffic. Isn't that right, Carlos?
No kidding, brother. Yeah. I just pulled in.
Yes, Carlos Carrasco. I like saying, I've been practicing your name, man.
Oh, wow.
I'm saying, Carrasco, Carrasco.
Carrasco. Me pica, por eso me rasco.
Oh, I like that, man. Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're broadcasting live right here on the Jesse T. Show. Good to be back with you. Yes, on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. On the Power of Voices on Facebook, as well as we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Periscope, Livestream, and we're also on a couple other great places like Instagram Live at Jesse Torrero and YouTube, Jesse Torrero and the Power of Voices, and across the global radio network of the Power of Voices at www.thepowerofvoices.com.
Wow, you got it all covered, man. I got to do a tutorial with you, man, to get all that social media thing going on.
That's
man.
right, baby. That's
wow.
right, man. Hey, man, someone's got to love me somewhere. If I figure if I'm in enough spaces and enough plots, somebody's going to buy my gig.
Somebody's going to hit like, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's I'm the Walmart theory of radio and TV broadcasting,
all right?
right?
All right.
Throw enough crap on the wall and some of it sticks.
Some of it'll stick. Yeah, that's great.
That's right. Sort of like Donald Trump. Throw enough crap on the wall and some of it sticks.
I prefer to think of a better reference like The Odd Couple.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's
yes.
a famous scene where Oscar and Felix are arguing, you know, and Felix puts down a plate and Oscar goes, "Oh, that's pretty good spaghetti," and Felix goes, "It's linguine." So Oscar picks it up,
absolutely,
and heaves it at the wall and says, "Now it's garbage."
What was it? The tune? Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, the theme song.
The theme song.
We're dating ourselves.
Yes, we are, but that's okay. Look at, yes, I'm getting the gray beard here. Look, let me tell you about my get up here. Okay, I was stuck in the hospital for a week and a half.
What happened?
I got a little infection in the left knee, the left shin, and it kind of went a little wild, on me. So they put 20 bags of medicine in me, and I'm stuck here and stuck there and stuck everywhere, and the poor nurses were stuck with me for a week and a half, and so
you want to get into like old guy talk and stuff
man,
like that.
Right.
No, because I just went through a whole knee journey myself.
Oh, you did too?
Oh,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I had the problem about 7 years ago under my knee. It got infected, and they had to take the kneecap off and do the scraping of the meniscus and get all that cruddy crap out of me. Anyhow, so I'm sitting there, and I didn't shave.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, I came out of the hospital and I haven't shaved in a week and a half.
I like it.
Yeah. And so I thought, well, I'm looking around town. Everybody's not shaved these days.
I know.
They got these big bushy beards,
it's
right?
The look, man.
I'm telling you.
It's cool because when I first came in here, I heard you identify yourself as a hippie.
Yes.
And, so do I.
Yes.
I mean, I go back to those years.
Yes, you do. Yes. I know that. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashbury District stuff. Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Man. Or
yeah.
New York.
Whatever. Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
I was down in Panama between 89 and 92.
No kidding.
Yeah, we did a lot of shows down there with groups I brought down there. A couple of groups that I brought down there. We did different stadiums and stuff like that down in Panama. My grandfather, now, the reason why I bring that up, ladies and gentlemen, and because Carlos is his original homeland, he's Panamanian.
Panama.
Yeah, from Panama.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to talk about the big festival that's coming up here that Camille sent me a whole bunch of information, which I haven't reviewed, but you got it in your head. So
I got it.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, hey,
get out of here.
Hang loose, dude. Hang on. Relax.
Absolutely. So, but you're Panamanian, so from Panama, and I was down there, and my grandfather. Now, this is really strange.
Okay.
This is how connected the world really is. Now, this is the first time I've met Carlos. I mean, I've seen him on TV. I've seen him in movies. He's Shakespearean actor. Just the guy's got a laundry list of stuff that we're going to talk about. Rita Moreno. I love her. Oh man, she was so hot when she was young. Oh my God, I used to look at Rita Moreno and go,
yes,
that Puerto Rican girl.
Oh man,
yeah. You got actually to be on stage with her in New York.
I got to be on. Okay. I do have a Rita Moreno story.
Okay, well, hold that a second. Let me tell you. So my grandfather, during World War II, he was a little too old to go and fight in any of the theaters directly. So they sent him, the Army sent him down to Panama to dredge the canal and keep it open and keep the U-boats from the Atlantic Ocean from coming this way, and the Japanese U-boats that a lot of people don't realize they had submarines too, coming this way to keep the canal open and dredge the lake.
Wow.
And so he was the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
And he was down there for the whole theater of war in World War II. And
your grandpa?
My grandfather, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was a farm boy from Illinois. That's where I get that look. Scott
Went
Irish
to school
look.
in Illinois. Hello.
Hello.
U of M.
You get out of
U
here.
of Illinois. Yeah.
Really?
Fighting Illini.
Man, you like that cold weather?
No.
That's why you're here. That's why Lee Baby Michaels is here. And that's why Jesse T is here. We don't like that cold weather.
Where'd you grow up, man?
I was born in Chicago. I grew up based in California.
I love Chicago, though.
You know, Chicago's cool, man.
Yeah.
But it's when your eyeballs freeze.
In the summer.
When your eyeballs freeze, man, that's not the snot coming out of your nose freezes. It's like you don't have icicles, you got snotsicles.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You look awful attractive tonight, darling. But you just got some snot coming out of your nose.
Yes.
And how do you break that news, right?
On the first date.
That's always that way, right?
Really.
It's always on the first date. But yeah, my daughter she played with the Chicago Red Stars, the NWSL soccer team at Toyota Stadium just last season. She's a goalkeeper.
No kidding.
And she's going down. Maybe she's going to be on the Chilean national soccer team because my wife, Mama T, right?
Okay.
And I always have to make some grace to Mama T on every
props.
show. Otherwise, I don't come home.
Don't go home.
I can't eat.
Yeah.
Forget it, man. I come down the street and they're already throwing me off the street if I don't say something good. But now, seriously, she's born in Chile, right?
Okay.
And so because my daughter's first generation American to my wife, who came over here at 11 years old and became a citizen, she may have a shot at playing for the Chilean national soccer team. And because she was in the NWSL, so this is a big thing for Chile.
Yeah.
Because they've never had that.
Awesome.
They've never had it. In the World Championships and the Olympics, maybe. We're hoping. Thank you, please, Lord.
Wow.
Right, I cover them all.
You cover them all.
That's right.
My
my mom said when she sent me to Christian school when I was born, when I was young, she said to my dad said, "Why did you send him to public school?" She said, "The boy has to have some insurance."
Let's cover that base.
Yeah. So tell me the Rita Moreno story.
Okay. I was a young actor, fresh out of college. Hit New York because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I had studied theater, so it's like, the heck with movies. I'm going to go do theater.
Yes.
So I arrived in New York and I started just going out on things on my own. And I answered an ad that they were looking for walk-ons and stuff in this Broadway play. And I went down there, I auditioned, and guess what? I got the part.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a big role. I just kind of,
Doesn't matter, man.
But it was set in a hospital ward. It was a play. The name of the play was The National Health, and it was a play from London, and it had been brought over. It had been done at the Long Wharf Theater in New Haven, and they were basically moving the New Haven production to New York to a place called Circle in the Square. So suddenly, and they need 4 people, to just, supplement. So I audition and I get this role, and I'm playing, the character was described as an African prince.
An African prince.
Othello.
Prince.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's working in the hospital ward because national health refers to, the health system over there.
Yeah.
So the whole play takes place in a hospital ward. And at the beginning, there's 12 patients. And as the play progresses, they slowly dwindle. My character's big participation is that every now and then I would walk through being an African prince and people would make fun of me. Okay. So it's whatever, maintain the dignity. Closing night comes. And Rita Moreno was in the play playing the main nurse.
She's the star.
And she was great. She was a star. She was wonderful. And she was so down to earth and lovely and friendly. Everybody became Rita's friend. Now, she had to leave 2 weeks early to go into rehearsal for another Broadway play, big musical and everything. And so, goodbye, Rita, we'll miss you, whatever. The understudy steps in. Closing night, Rita comes back. Because I don't know if you know about this, but there's a tradition in the theater that sometimes, that on closing night, people do crazy things and they play tricks and pranks.
Prank time.
Yes, and whatever. So Rita was there and she was watching the show and she pretty much behaved herself for most of the thing. And then comes the third act and Rita starts to do things, but unbeknownst to us. So then I get to my final entrance in the play, and it's a circle in the square, which is a theater in the round. So the actors enter and exit through the aisles and through the audience. Right. So I had to march down the aisle, through the audience and onto the stage and sort of look dignified or something. And then, I don't know, pick up a bowl, know? So I'm making my big dignified entrance and I'm about 3 steps away from the stage. And suddenly something grabs my crotch. Oh. I feel a hand doing the yank thing. And I'm like, character goes out the window, the thing. I kind of stagger onto the stage. I'm like, what just happened? And then out of the corner of my eye, I happen to look backwards, and I see Rita Moreno on all fours, crawling up the aisle with this big grin on her face.
Oh, that's funny, man.
And I'm like, I got punked by Rita Moreno on closing night on Broadway.
On Broadway, no less, right?
Yes. Oh, my Lord. And she was in the green room afterwards.
Laughing?
After the show, laughing her head off and everything. And it was like, okay, I'm just never going to forget that.
Yeah, man. And you never have.
And I never have.
And quite frankly, I wouldn't either. Rita Moreno, man.
Yeah, that's one
As a young guy, man, Rita Moreno, she was still hot, man, then.
Oh, she was terrific.
She's still alive.
She's
around.
like
90 years old now, isn't she?
Still around. In fact, she's on a TV show right now. The name escapes me. There's so much television now. Yeah. But Rita's still kicking it, man.
Yeah, I know.
She's good.
It's interesting you said that. There is so much television. There's so much internet. There's so much independent production, and you've done your fair share of it. Wow, it's really opened up during your career, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has. It's incredible. I mean, when the digital thing happened, I don't think we all realized what floodgates had just been opened.
Yeah.
Because ever since digital, I mean, everything changed. Oh, everything changed. When I started, movies were, they were films.
Yes.
And you had to go and get the celluloid and, so it wasn't really that easy, to make your own movie,
Forget about making your own movie.
Yeah, the famous story about Robert Rodriguez,
yes,
right?
I do.
About giving blood and stuff. And then he shot El Mariachi on what they call ends.
I know.
He just kept buying little pieces of
putting
film
it together.
and putting it all together and forget about that now, man. I mean, you make a movie on a phone.
They do that with these Apples and these Android phones.
Absolutely.
Man. The cameras are so great.
Yeah.
And you just plug in a nice microphone and boom it out or whatever.
So
man.
It's a whole democratization.
It really is. And do you think that's a good thing for the industry as a whole in terms of the business side of it, making money? Or do you think it's just becoming so much material out there that it's getting kind of heavy, and there's just what do you buy, what do you watch, what do you not buy? It gets lost in the crowd. What do you think?
Well, I'm of two opinions about it. I'm a member of the Television Academy.
So am I.
You are?
Yeah,
okay. So you know about the Emmy voting and all that sort of thing like that. And, I've been a member for a number of years. And it used to be that, you'd get the screeners and you'd watch and you'd do your best and everything.
Yeah.
And now it's impossible.
You can't. Yeah,
it's just human. In fact, it was interesting because when I got the ballot this year, it said, vote for something that you think you have seen enough of to make an informed judgment or something, Whereas before it was like, if you're going to vote, you better have watched this.
That's right. It was mandatory, man. They come to your house in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
really,
but even it's interesting when even the Academy acknowledges, there is so much. There is so much. Now, there's a good side to that, which is that there are so many platforms now, so many outlets, that it's really benefited the writers. Because the writers have so many, everybody's looking for content. Everybody needs content, know. And then on cable, the whole extended programming thing of the miniseries and the things like that is really great for writers. because now they don't have to be thinking about like, okay, I gotta get it all in 90 minutes or in 2 hours. It's like, hey, I'm gonna have maybe 16 hours to tell this story.
Tell the story a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like Walking Dead has been on for 12 years or 10 years now.
Yeah.
They still aren't done with the story.
Well, and so for the writers, it's a good thing. Now, the other thing though is that everybody's looking for content, but I think it still comes down to you gotta have a good story.
It
just
all does start with the language, doesn't it? And the
huge
words.
Believer in the script.
Yeah. Well, that probably comes from your Shakespearean background because you were quite that's what you studied, and you studied that. You've done tons of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Well, it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick, but
pick me three. Give me three.
But okay. Well, everybody loves Hamlet.
Absolutely.
Okay, you got to do Hamlet.
Yes.
You know the joke about the really bad actor who, you can't cuss on this.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Man, we run around here naked. Man, I'll do anything for ratings.
There's this really bad actor, and his ambition had always been to play Hamlet, but he just really wasn't very good. But eventually, over the years, he got enough money together, to put on his vanity production of Hamlet.
Yes.
And opening night comes, and the crowd is there, and the show starts, and it's really bad.
Oh, Lord.
It's really bad.
And when somebody does Hamlet bad, it really is bad.
Yeah, and the crowd is restless in their thing or whatever, and now finally he gets to the to be or not to be.
Yes.
And they've had it
Beautiful
by then,
monologue.
and they're booing, and they're throwing stuff at the stage, and it really just gets stuck. It's uncontrollable, you know?
Yes.
And so the guy finally stops in the middle of to be or not to be, and he looks out at the audience and he goes, "Hey, don't blame me. I didn't write this shit." Put it on the author,
That's right. He's only been dead for 500 years.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Blame the other guy. Boy, that's blaming the other guy.
Yeah, blame the writer. Yeah, it's always on the writer,
Yeah, well, everybody has to play Hamlet. That's absolutely true. And that is everybody's favorite, and that's everybody's hope and desire, male, to play that part.
Kind of a rite of passage.
And bring something to it that perhaps is unique and different. And, it's so hard to do that because everybody's done it. But if you bring yourself to it.
Absolutely.
And you bring your truth to it, it will be different.
There's never going to be two Hamlets.
No.
They're the same. It's what you say is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
It's whatever comes out of that person, what they bring to it. Women have played Hamlet, over the years and everything. And it's fascinating because Shakespeare is a remarkable guy.
The guy was he was the greatest of all time.
It's kind of like he covered everything. People say like you need two books. If you had to nail it down to two books, the Bible and Shakespeare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why
not?
To study human condition and stuff like that.
Shakespeare was an observer of all observers.
Yeah.
And his plays and his words have just lasted and will continue to last because essentially it's just a play of humanity. Yeah. And humanity hasn't changed in 500,000 years.
Yeah.
We today are the same way we were 10,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago, 100,000. We're no different.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I don't like about what people are doing in the political realm. We won't get into too much of that today. But
hard not to. But
is that people think. And I tell my kids who are 28 and 23, and they're just wonderful, wonderful young adults. And I've told them over the years that you think everything that you're doing is the first time the world's ever seen it or the first time the world's ever experienced it. No, what you're doing is the first time for you. Mm-hmm. It's just your first time. Mm-hmm. Everybody around you has already been through this, and for 100,000 years, people have been through the same thing. I don't care whether it's driving a car or driving a donkey. It's the same thing. It's the same issues. And we today, in our society, at least in America, we've kind of lost grasp of that. We think that everything is so important right now, and it has to be wrestled down to the point where I have to bang it into you and violently push it into you, whether you believe it or not. You know, we've lost that. Hey, man, this is just a passage of time in a moment.
The saying that those who ignore history are condemned to repeat its mistakes, and it couldn't be more applicable than the times we're living through now. To your point, there's a lot of what's going on now is not new.
No.
And it's happened before in the history of man.
Right.
And you just gnash your teeth when you watch it happening again and go, oh, my Lord, people go pick up a history book.
Yeah.
Read the ending of that time.
That's the problem. You hit it right on the nose. People go pick up a book. Yeah. Nobody picks up a book anymore.
People don't read anymore.
There's something about, we get Kindles and we get these notepads and we have, books on tape, books on CD, books on apps, right? And they tell us the story while we're driving our car. But there's something about sitting down in a place and reading the words on the page and touching the page with your fingers and feeling the paper and turning and following the words from the previous page to the top of the next page, and your imagination is engaged, your physical tactile is engaged, your focus is engaged, everything is engaged versus reading a Kindle, which is, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I read a Kindle for like entertainment. Right, I read my murder mysteries on Kindle and stuff like that. But there's nothing like picking up, a printed page. Because you're right. Even the feel of it, the feel of the paper.
It's just, it adds something to it.
Yeah.
A softback book or hardback book. Yeah. Or something where the pages are a little tighter than the others. The binding is different. Yeah. There's something to that.
And there's the intimacy of it too. Yeah. Especially when you're like young and you're just starting to read and stuff and you get a book and you curl up with it and you read Treasure Island or something like that.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where good storytelling comes from, the education of language. You see, we don't use enough words today to express ourselves. That's why we express ourselves physically, because we don't know how to explain things, how to express ourselves. Yeah. If you only have 800 words that you use, the typical American, through their life over and over and over, and half of those are profanity, then how can you express a concept, something that's out of the box, something that you have to discuss? Yeah. Words are so powerful. Right. And as a director, now you've done a lot of directing and producing. I mean, the words are really important. Do you stick to the scripts when you get them, or do you allow the actors to explore a little bit with the story and stretch the words out a little bit? Are you one of those guys that are just words?
It depends. It depends on the medium. Mm-hmm. Like if you're doing theater, you kind of really want to get the words. It's really like stick to the script, stick to the words. It's been a lot of work that the playwright went through, and the choices aren't accidental. Right. And I mean, I can get really deep, and well, we talked a lot about Shakespeare. So, I mean, I'll go there for a minute. Like, how do you do Shakespeare? Yeah. Like a lot of actors, I've heard a lot of actors over the years say, I could never do Shakespeare. It's too scary. It's too, I can't do that, And, it's always a little, sad when I hear that, because it's like, no, you can, but there's just like certain sort of key things that you got to learn. One of them is that it's the language.
Once you master that.
Yeah, but let me tell you, there are cues in the language. Shakespeare has been called a genius, of course, but everybody says very broadly, oh, he was a genius. But when you and especially with poetry, because it was poetry. Basically, he wrote poems. His plays are basically long poems. Yeah. And when you approach it from the angle of poetry, you realize, okay, poems are not written accidentally. Like if you say you like sonnets, okay, well, sonnets are a very specific, structure and a specific number of syllables, and a specific kind of rhyming. You know what? It's like a blues song. Yeah. 12-bar blues.
Same thing all the time.
12 bars, and the A, B, whatever structure. And it's remarkable how many variations of a blues tune.
Yeah, that's right.
There can be. I mean, it's like basically all of rock and roll is blues, the 3-chord progression and things. Shakespeare is not unlike that. Poetry is not unlike that. So when you read a poem, it's not just a bunch of words at random that got there accidentally. You have to understand that there's a structure behind it, and the poet chose the words very specifically. Now, when you get to Shakespeare, you start with, okay, accepting that it's poetry. That means it's got meter. It's got rhyme.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got a pace.
Yeah. Shakespeare wrote in what was called iambic pentameter, which means...
Did he really?
Yeah. So that means that basically his poems consisted. Iambic means pentameter means 5, penta, and iambic means that each syllable has a unstress and stress, unstress, stress. So if you have that knowledge and you go like, okay, how am I going to do Romeo? Okay, I say, okay, fine. Go back to the structure, to the basics. It's 5 phrases per line, and they are written in unstressed stress. So when you start doing that, suddenly the meaning jumps out at you because you go, whoa, let's go back to Hamlet. To be
or not
to be, that is the question.
Music.
Yeah, that's 5 feet of poetry with a unstressed stress, unstressed stress, and the meaning is right there.
Yeah, it jumps out at you.
Yeah, so you don't have to go like, oh my God, how do I say this line? Oh, well, I'm playing Hamlet. It's like, you know what? Go back to the original poetry and do the unstressed stress, iambic pentameter, to be or not to be, that is the question.
Yeah. Once you get that down, then the life comes out in you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another quick example, Romeo and Juliet. Romeo looks up at the balcony and sees Juliet, and he goes, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks.
Yeah, it's a rhythm.
It's
the
there.
Same rhythm.
In other words, the guy wrote it for you. He put it in there. So when you get to like to your original question,
right.
Like if you're directing actors in theater or whatever, are there any differences? Well, if you're doing Shakespeare, it's like, no, honey, don't come in here and go, whoa, lo, I see a balcony up there. Yo, there's a broad up there, man. Because it's like, no.
You have to follow some sort of syntax or some sort of structure. Thank you.
There's a reason why those specific words are written in that order. There really is, and you have to respect that. Same thing, I was talking about Neil Simon earlier, like The Odd Couple.
Right.
And, there's a saying that comedy ain't pretty.
No.
No.
Comedy is a complete mess.
Oh, comedy is hard, man.
It's the hardest thing to do.
It really is. And why is that? Because it has to do with timing and rhythm and pacing.
And you have to understand the tragedy.
You have to. And Neil Simon was a master at that.
He certainly was. And he just passed away last year.
Yeah. But if you're doing a Neil Simon play you go in there and say, I'm going to change this word around or whatever, it's like you can't, because those words were chosen specifically for a reason. Now, when you get to film,
how does that change with film? Because film is in such a short syntax, especially today, because the audience doesn't want to participate more than a few seconds at a time. The fast cutting, the hard cutting, the explosions, the long key shot is no longer passe. That's why I love the movies from the 30s and 40s and the 50s, because you got the 2 actors or the 3 actors, and they were all discussing the problem or the issue, and it was this long key shot and you got to see them all react at the same time, and they were listening. But now it's like boom, boom, close up reaction, boom, boom. How does that change the writing?
Cut. Yeah. Well, there's a saying that that film is a director's medium.
Yeah.
Whereas theater and even television is more of a writer's medium. Mm-hmm. In other words, that's kind of what's respected and when you get into film, it's like, well, the vision.
Yeah.
The auteur, and like, this is my thing and whatever. So the screenwriter tends to take a real back seat.
Yeah. They get him out of the way as
they
fast as
sort
they
of
can.
like, okay, here's your money, now
go
away.
Go write something else, right?
Yeah, and
that's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
You very rarely do you see, unless they're all pals, but if they're bringing people to the project, you don't usually see the screenwriter too much around the set.
Not a lot.
Only when they have to do some sort of dramatic change or whatever, but really you don't.
Or sometimes even when, like, films are put into production and they're not finished.
They're never finished.
So the guy's still, the director's on the set shooting, and
he's back at
the guy's back at the trailer going like,
that's right.
Do you know one of the most famous examples of that?
What's that?
Casablanca.
What a great film.
Didn't have an ending.
Shot it out at Van Nuys Airport, and they made it up when they went out there.
Wow, yeah. They didn't
the
have
fog
that
scene
ending.
at Van Nuys Airport, and then the plane and the whole goodbye soliloquy there, and that whole thing. That was all bam, done that day.
Yeah.
It was all improv out.
Yeah.
The writer had the right words. That's why Bogey doesn't say much.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. And that great line, those great few lines at the end of the movie that he had, right?
The troubles of two people don't amount to a hill of beans.
That's right. That's so true, man. Absolutely. So, what do you got going on right now out there that you're doing? Let's talk a little bit about what's happening for you right now.
Well, about 2 years ago, I announced to my wife and to my friends and to my family that I was retiring. I was done.
Yeah, sure.
Got the SAG pension thing, whatever.
That's going
it's
on,
like,
man.
you know what? I'm done. I'm going to do, this thing.
Like my friend Cy Richardson was going to do.
Really?
Right? Yes.
Famous last words. Wow. Because I've never been busier. That
is true, isn't it? You know how many guys and ladies say that to me who've had good, long, solid, hard-working, continued working careers, and they've said when we announced we were going to not do anything anymore and we're retiring, all of a sudden everybody wants me in the world and I'm busier than I've ever been.
I don't know what's about, or maybe it's kind of like, oh, let's get him while he's still alive.
While he's still living, right?
I don't know, man.
Gee, that's kind of nice.
Let's
get Carlos before he kicks the bucket or goes back to Panama. Okay?
So it's kind of worked out that way. And
good for you.
This year, 2018 has been a whirlwind, man. I mean, I have, and I'm not done, but I've shot 2 feature films this year.
Yeah.
In leading roles.
That's great. And you got another one coming up here soon that you're going to get out on.
Yeah. And the real beauty of it is that I didn't have to audition. I mean, it's like,
isn't that the best?
Yeah, that's the best. People call up and go, hey, would you be like interested in this thing? And it's like, yeah, sure, whatever, And one of my dreams I got to fulfill this year, which was to go back to Panama. Because we're going to talk about my film festival. But the reason I started the film festival in the first place was because I go back home, pretty much every year.
Right.
And an interesting thing started happening down there, like early in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The film industry down there has really, really started to grow.
Yeah.
And really develop, and some really good people are coming up through the ranks now down there.
Great talent.
There's good talent. There's good stuff going on right now. And I started watching that, and 2 thoughts came to me. One was like, wow, this stuff should get exposed.
Right.
Like in Hollywood and places like, what? I'm the old wise guy now. I can
you look
say
like
to
a
people,
wise guy.
Well,
hey, come on.
I didn't know what was going to be happening. So I thought, okay, let me see what I can do to help some of these people get exposure in the States. But at the same time, I was like, wow, damn, man, this stuff's going on down here. I had to leave Panama because when I was coming up, and
there
I
was
was
nothing
like,
there.
There was nothing.
No.
It was just your granddad out there on the dredge.
Yeah, right. And the big bugs, man. They got the biggest bugs in the world. You've never seen bugs until you get down to the equator there, man. I mean,
huge.
You think we get these little mosquitoes here, man? These things are like F-20 Raptors,
dive bombers. But anyway, the thing is like I there was nothing for me there, so that's part of why I came to the States. But now I'm like, they're doing all this stuff, and it's all this cool stuff, and I'm not there, and I would love to be part of it. So earlier this year, I was offered a film down there.
Great.
And I was like, I said, yeah, send me the script. The guy sends me the script. And I said, well, I'm a little old for this, but he didn't care. He's like, don't worry, we'll fix it, whatever. And so I went down there and I got my dream.
Yeah, I got to go do something at home.
Yeah. I got to go down there and work with the Panamanian talent and with the things. And,
How cool is that?
The film
How cool is
that?
That?
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about it, too, is I have family down there. So, and I have a niece.
Yeah.
That's studying like film and production and stuff at university.
She got to see her uncle do some stuff.
Not only did she get to see her uncle, but I talked to the people and I said, "Hey, my niece,
come
what's
on,
up?
What's wrong with you?
A little nepotism, please."
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so they put her on the crew.
Yeah,
and she was running around doing the clapper, doing stuff and everything, and so it was really kind of cool to like share a project with my niece, you know.
So now you started the festival up here in Los Angeles, and that's coming up here in a very short period of time.
2 weeks.
And where's it going to be primary? Where's the main part of the festival?
It's going to be in one place, one location. It's not one of those festivals.
Where it's all over town in 47 theaters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, this is one place.
And you might see 3 films, but with the traffic, you know, you want to see 6, you're only going to get to 3.
Yeah, really. By the time you drive from one place to the driving, L.A. Oh, my God.
Forget it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we're going to be, I started doing this about 4 years ago in partnership with a great organization here called New Filmmakers, you know, and they're really great people on their own. I mean, and if you get a chance, go on their website, New Filmmakers Los Angeles. They do a festival a month.
Really?
Yes, which I do not comprehend or understand.
How do you do that?
I do not know. Maybe you drink a lot of coffee and have a guy that comes around.
Yeah, a guy. Everybody's got to have that guy.
Yeah, the guy's knocking on the door. You know what I'm saying? But they're a great organization, and they're like they were like a real entryway, gateway, which is part of their
a lot
mission.
of new stuff, new product, new talent.
New talent, young up and comers. Anyway. I partnered with, actually, I had a film, a documentary that I directed about 5 years ago, and that's how I met them, because they picked it up, and they ran my documentary, and I met Larry LeBeau, who's the executive director, and we got on fine. And then a couple of years down the road, this whole idea of like, hey, what about a Panamanian festival? You know, the thing I said, let's get some exposure up here for those kids. And I went to Larry and I said, I'm thinking about this. And he said, well, you know, you can use our space. And, you know, and he was very, very helpful, very supportive. So the first 3 years we did it, they have a wonderful screening room it's downtown L.A. At what used to be the AT&T Center. But now but it belongs to USC, the space. So, and they have a great state-of-the-art screening room there, and everything was wonderful. And so we did it there 3 times. This year, I kind of wanted to change things up a little bit and, you know, maybe, you know, move someplace. And an actor friend of mine came up to me at an audition, a wonderful actor that's been around for years called Sal Lopez. You know, you know Sal. Yeah, and he's part of the Latino Theater Company and whatever. And they are down at the LATC, the Los Angeles Theater Center. You know, on Spring Street down there.
Been there. I've lots of times.
Well, then you know.
Yeah, right where it's at.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to do some plays there when they first opened, eons and eons ago.
Do you know Bill Bushnell? Remember Bill Bushnell?
Way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah, I know.
Is he still there?
No,
he died. Didn't he pass away?
You know, I don't know what happened to him.
He was the guy that opened it up.
He opened it up, and when I had first...
Back in the 80s.
Yes, sir.
I was there.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
We might have crossed in the hallways.
Maybe we did. I studied with Guy Stockwell. And for 20 or 30 years. And he had a great career. But anyhow, I did a few plays there.
Well, when I first moved I moved to L.A. in 89, going into 90, something like that. And I got a phone call from a director friend that I'd worked with back in New York. Very New York guy.
Yeah.
He calls me and goes, hey, Carlos, I'm putting together this company, you know, and you should be in it. You know, and I'm like, yeah, okay. John Simon was his name.
Sure, okay.
I was like, well, you know, because his idea was, there's a lot of classical actors in L.A.
Yeah.
And they don't get to do that.
There's nothing here.
Yeah, because it's all like, the work here is action, adventure, and the thing, and sitcoms and whatever.
In theater, there's not a lot of big house theater here. It's equity. We used to be called Equity Waiver. Under 99 seaters. A lot of that stuff, but, there's not a lot of big house.
It's not the same thing. No. It's not like in New York where
even in Chicago they got quite a theater.
Yeah.
Musical comedy theater. Mostly, but
I think
here.
some of it too is the geographics of it. I mean, because
everybody wants to be a movie star,
and everybody here, that's what they come for. Yeah. So John calls up and he goes, I'm creating a workshop for classical actors here in Los Angeles so that they can still exercise their chops and work on that material and stuff like that. And I want you to be in it. And we're going to meet. I have space at LATC.
Nice.
And that was when Bill Bushnell was running.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to LATC, because we used to go down there and meet once a week.
He was an interesting guy.
He was an interesting guy. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, he could tell some stories, man.
Yeah, I never really got to know him.
I got to talk to him.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I talk to everybody. You know
Yeah.
me. I talk in my sleep. That's why I can never do anything wrong. Mama T, that's it. So you know what I did? I learned very, very early on with Mama T, man. I said, I don't want to talk in my sleep about anybody else. When I was dating and I wasn't married, I said, so everybody else is going to be called baby. So when I talk in my sleep, I say, oh, baby, baby, baby. She wake up in the morning and she says to me, you were saying baby? I said, yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Baby, I love you, baby.
Yeah.
So I didn't get in trouble.
That's
Otherwise,
smart.
I would have said Sally, Becky, Sue, and Gina.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's smart.
I just got myself in trouble now. God.
You gave it out. You gave it away. You gave it away. Oh, my Lord.
Anyway, but he was a
I don't know
fun
what
guy.
happened to him, you know. I think he was trying, having just moved here from New York.
Yeah.
It kind of struck me that the vibe that I got from there was that he I don't know that he was consciously doing this, but it seemed like he was creating the West Coast version of the Public Theater in New York, which was
hard
Joe
to do.
Papp.
And it's hard to do here.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, because Joe Papp and he had the Public Theater downtown with the new playwrights and the experimental stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that like, oh wow, maybe that's what's going. And then it was over. He I don't know what happened.
Did you ever meet Jordan Charney over at the Actors Alley?
Yeah.
I was the actor. I was part of the repertory company there.
Really?
Yeah, back in the late '80s.
Wow.
When we were over on Little Van Nuys Boulevard there,
Yes.
then they got the El Portel Theater.
Yeah.
That was later on.
Right.
But we used to at the right across from the newsstand.
Jordan
Charney, man, he was in everything. He was a character actor forever.
He was, but he did like TV as well.
A
He
lot
did,
of TV, always working all the time, and he was the artistic director of Actors Alley.
Wow,
Jordan Charney. Yeah.
Well, the closest thing now is oh God, just went out of my name. Because they're in the Valley now too, and they're still doing classical theater. Because it was a lot of people actually that were in the same group with that John started.
Yeah.
Antaeus.
Oh yes,
Antaeus. You know, that was for a long time. It was run by another very well established character actor.
Yeah,
and they're still doing it. You know.
Yeah, it's if you ever get a chance, folks, to go out and see some really good classical theater, go see it because it's a total different experience than watching film or TV or the internet or HBO or Netflix or anything like that. It's really It's a fantastic thing, and the Mark Taper Forum. You performed at the Mark Taper Forum.
I did Richard II at the Mark Taper.
I mean, that's a great theater to do Richard II at.
Yeah.
I saw Phantom of the Opera and so many other things there over the year. You ever did anything on the Dorothy Chandler Across the Way?
Nope.
Yeah, what a house that is.
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, that's terrific.
You go there, and you go, oh my God.
Although I will say this, I gotta put this plug in. You ever gone to see theater in London?
No, I didn't. I've been to the original Old Globe,
right?
But I did not get a chance to get there.
Yeah, well, we've been to London a couple of times, and of course, you do the American cliche thing of like, oh, we got to go see theater, we got to, because they have their own version of the tickets booth in Piccadilly Circus, and you can just go there on the night and see what's up for sale and everything. So we kind of did a whole theater thing in London, and it was interesting because you always hear about British theater and the actors and stuff like that, but one of the things I realized is that a lot of what they do is dictated by architecture.
Really?
Yeah, because it's still the old theaters that have been around
for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. That's right. The echo's different. The sound is different.
Yeah, and the seating is different. It's much closer. It's much more intimate. You got that little balcony thing over there.
Yeah.
And then the actors come out. And what the actors over there are doing now is like an interesting combination because it's not declaiming anymore, of course.
Right.
And in London, the theater and film communities are in the same place. So it's not like you can be an actor in London and do both things at the same time.
Right.
You don't have to go to New York to be in a Broadway play and then get
come back out here
to whatever.
Yeah.
So the performance itself, the performing style is kind of a blend because the theaters lend themselves to it acoustically.
Yeah.
So the actors are not out there yelling and screaming.
Right.
And because, there's that sensibility that comes from film now, a lot of it gets very conversational, very intimate, and you really it's a different experience. And because you mentioned Dorothy Chandler, we were much props and much respect, much love to everybody, but we would go to Piccadilly Circus and pick out plays and everything, what's available tonight. And then we saw one night and said, that rings a bell. I don't know why, but I know that's a good play. I don't remember why. And we bought tickets and went to see the thing. And we're sitting there watching this play and really engrossed and engaged in it and everything. And then somewhere in the third act, because it all takes place in this house and this family and their intrigue, and at the climax of the play, there's a whole thing, and it's a challenge for a set designer because the house collapses.
Oh, boy.
And like the walls fall down. The whole thing, goes to heck. And then I went, oh, I've seen this before. But it took me to the third act to realize that I had seen that play at the Dorothy Chandler. But I'd sitting way up
on the top
in the thing, whatever, miles and miles away.
Because you don't want to spend $1,000 for a ticket or whatever.
Yeah. And the thing that the main memory I retained of it was because when the entire set collapsed.
Right.
That's kind of a memorable thing.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
But it was interesting because I wasn't as engaged when I saw it in that huge venue as when I saw it in this intimate theater in London with the actors speaking very conversationally, and you felt like you were in the room with them. It was terrific. I recommend it. Go to London. Watch some theater.
Absolutely, man. So let's get back to the festival that's going on. When and where is it going to be so folks can participate in it, and how do they get involved in getting some tickets or whatever? And we'll show the heck out of this here.
Yeah.
So let's bring that right now, and we'll do it here. It's called the Panafest, the Panamanian International Film Festival in La Pif.
Oh, that's PIF LA.
PIF LA.
Yeah, because what happened is the sort of history of this event is that I said, when I first started doing it, it was like, okay, let's get some Panamanian filmmakers up here. And so the first year or so, we kind of really just had, Panama film. But then I thought, that's, first of all, there's not a lot of content to sustain like an entire film festival. And then I thought, well, yeah, but I mean, the goal is to unite people, so why should we just silo ourselves and just stick to that?
Right.
So we made a creative decision to open it up to all filmmakers, and it's international. Let's bring people from other parts.
It's just not films all about and coming from Panama. It's all kinds of countries.
It's an international festival, and now we've opened the doors, and we include films from here.
Right.
From the Latino community here, and films from Central America, from all over.
I'll tell you what, I mean, with the demographic that has changed in the last 40 years in America, the United States of America, and the opening up, I read a book recently, it was by an author, and the title of his book is The New White is Brown. And it's a terrific book because...
Don't tell Orangina that.
No, I know that. Well, the new white is brown. And with that, if you've noticed, and I'm sure you have, I have, when I first started coming up in the business, in the mid-'70s, I was 14 in 74, so you kind of get an idea of where I was at. And... everybody had blonde hair, blue eyes, or hazel eyes, and everybody was O'Malley or Wilson, essentially. But now, in the last 30 years, across America, the Hispanic Latino creation of arts and people doing things now, and the technical skills and the teaching and the directors and the gaffers and the lighters and it's completely changed, and it's opened up the whole North American continent to a place where people can actually participate that couldn't participate 40 years ago.
Let me ask you something. Do you...
We lost sound over here on this one.
Oh.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So let me ask you something.
Yes.
Do you feel threatened by this?
Absolutely not. I think it's a great thing. because I'm Spanish and Italian, Irish and Scot.
Okay.
So I'm an American mutt.
Yeah,
I'm all mixed up. No, I don't. I think it's terrific because America is a place that has always had dynamic change. Every 50 years, every 75 years, every 100 years, and we're going through this change now. And I think it's terrific because it's a whole cultural base that was never exposed in any degree with any kind of interest, and now it is, because Spanish and English and all of that is becoming very normal now for the last 2 generations. I'm the end of the baby boom generation here, and it's sort of the end of a time of America that was different. That world is no longer here, and a lot of people are having a hard time with that, I think. But
I think that's why we're where we are right now, because it's a reaction.
It's
kind of like the last stand.
Yeah,
of the,
you got it. And if you look in history of America, you've always had these cultural changes. I mean, look at when the first people came here, they were from basically England and France and Germany, and not many Italians, not many Russian Jews, not many. They were Dutch. They were Dutch because they were world traders. And then you had the Irish come, you had the Jewish come, the Irish, the Italians, the Polish, the Jews. Jewish faith, all come over here, and every time there was a significant change in America, in every aspect of it, and we're just going through that again. It's just another change. That's all it is.
I wish I felt as sort of like, you actually sound optimistic. Like, well, okay, now we're doing this, and then this too shall pass.
If you understand history, it's just another change. It's another change. Look at the largest population of immigrants coming to America right now are not of Latino or Hispanic heritage. They're Asian.
Yeah.
The Chinese, the Korean, the Cambodians, the Vietnamese, the Japanese, they're Asian, okay? That's the largest and fastest group of individuals that are hitting America on the immigration scene. It was the Latino Hispanic flavor for the last 30 years, but not now. So we've got another dynamic change that is happening with this change. And so I think some people are threatened by it. But they just, once again, don't understand history.
Yeah, and immigration has always been an engine for growth, throughout.
Especially in America.
We
are not an indigenous people. Even the indigenous people that were here first aren't indigenous because they came from Asia. They came from the Aborigines, hit Chile from Australia and New Zealand. They came from Africa. They floated across the Atlantic Ocean into the other side of South America and Central America. So even the people that were here that would say they're indigenous, they weren't indigenous. Nobody grew out of the mud here. Okay? They may have grew out of the mud someplace else.
Right, and then
not
crossed
here.
over,
But they came here. So we've all, the North American hemisphere has been a hemisphere of the melting pot. At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, well, no, and it's valid, But I think, again, getting back to hey, study your history and figure it out, because immigration has always been a very dynamic part of growth, of economic growth. It's like incredible. California is really complex for that reason too.
It is really. It's the most complex place in the country. Southern California, especially. It's crazy. So let me read a little bit of what's going on here. We got the Panafest is a celebration of Latino film and culture. Panafest will be featuring screenings of shorts, documentaries, and feature films both from Panama and Latin America and the U.S. October 27th through the 28th, 2018, Los Angeles Theater Center, DTLA. That's downtown L.A. It's over there on Spring Street. 514 South Spring Street, and it's great, man. Ticket prices are very inexpensive. I mean, we're talking $7 for our film blocks. You can buy 25 all-day pass, $40 for an all-weekend pass. Get the tickets at piffla.eventbrite.com. That's piffla.eventbrite. That's with an E at the end, .com, and it's going to be a great time. You can check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and all the social network sites. websites as well. And Panafest, you want to check them out, go to that website and look them up, because you're really going to be engaged in all of the terrific productions that they're going to be showing off here. And I like the fact that you're widening and opening up the spectrum.
That's why we rebranded it, decided to call it Panafest, as in it's like a celebration of Latino arts and culture, you know, and we're really proud of that. We had a great success last year doing the Panafest, and we're heading that way again this year, man. We got films from about 10 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many films you got to present?
40.
Oh my goodness! In just that one area down there,
yeah. I neglected to mention that, because we got invited to. The reason we changed locations is because Sal Lopez, I mentioned him before. Yeah. He came up to me. We were at an audition,
right?
And he came to me.
It always happens at an audition.
Yeah. That's right. So he comes over and he goes, "Hey, Carlitos, are you still doing that film thing of yours?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "So where are you going to do it this year?" And I said, "I don't know. It's still early days." And he said, "Why don't you come down and check out our new screening room? Because LATC has always been these theaters." And they completely renovated into what they have named the Lupe Ontiveros Theater.
Okay.
Because Lupe Ontiveros was a legendary Latina actress and so many things. Yeah. She left us a couple of years ago, but the memory is still strong. Yeah. So they have created this beautiful, state-of-the-art.
And it's great because downtown L.A. is a happening place,
man.
You got 100,000 people living in downtown L.A. now.
Wow.
When all those skyscrapers and all those towns. 100,000. Do you know what kind of business that means for you? Right there. This could really be
right there.
terrific,
walking distance, man. And so, yes, I'm saying we got... In 2 days, we're showing 40 films. 2 are features, and they're very fun. They're very special. And the bulk of it is shorts. And we got films from Argentina, from Mexico, from Peru, from Chile, from Panama, of course. Right. I mean, we got to make Cuba. We got everybody in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have to come in my shorts, though, do I?
No.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if you wanted to shoot me in my shorts. I don't know. I got mixed up there. A little confused. Yeah. Stupid jokes from Jesse T.
That's okay.
Clean thoughts on a dirty wall.
All right.
Or dirty walls with clean thoughts.
All right. Spaghetti.
Lines. That's right. There we go. Actually, Panafest, everybody, you got to check it out. It's going to be a great gig. You got to go there. It's October 27th through the 28th. Once again, at the L.A. Los Angeles Theater Center. It's a great place. They've renovated, cleaned it up, made it made it modern and everything. And South Spring Street is really changing. Spring Street isn't what it used to be. Like Broadway isn't what it used to be down there. It's really growing, and tickets are very, very hospitable for families. It's a family affair, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I want to do one little shout out.
Absolutely.
On our closing night, our closing film is from Panama. And Panama has a large West Indian population because, they went there to work on the canal and stuff like that. And so we're connected in that.
Right.
We've had family working on the canal.
Yeah.
My grandfather went there from the West Indies.
I think your grandpa and mine probably partied.
They well might have, But part of what the West Indians brought with them to Panama, to that whole experience, was the music.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't
even get a chance to talk about the music.
I know, but I'm telling you, the closing film here is called A Night of Calypso.
Oh, Lord. We're going. We're going.
If you're at all familiar with the Buena Vista Social Club, you remember when Ry Cooder made that movie about the Cubanitos and the old folks, the old guys.
Give me some of that, baby.
Who still had the chops.
Yeah.
This is like that, where this guy went and well, first of all, the whole thing is a filmed concert. Is the background, and then in the interviews with these old Calypsonians, man.
Carlos Caracas, everybody, man.
Caracas is in Venezuela.
I like that, man.
It's more like Carlos Carrasco.
I know. I want to say Caracas. I just blew it, but I blow everything. But the
Carrasco.
Enthusiasm. Thank you.
The enthusiasm is great.
It's there.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right.
Okay, man. I'll pay you the $25 later. All right.
Oh, that's right. God, we'll in the parking lot. We'll do the thing.
The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya.
Oh.